So what's the movie this week? This movie will be reviewing the stunt people for The Kid Who Would Be King. I almost said The Boy Who Would Be King. It looks like The Goonies, Stranger Things, the one what was the Steven Spielberg movie where the kids discovered it's not 8mm. That's the I think that's the Ben Affleck movie or something else. I can't remember. Oh no, not Nicolas Cage. No, I think it's Super 8. That was right. So it's like Super 8. It's actually more like Earthbound. So it's the live action version of Earthbound, whereas Alien inspired Metroid and Lord of the Rings inspired Zelda. So let's take a look at it. Let's just see what we have here. We got some actors. Let's just see it. Now we could just load this up. So let's see. We have actors in this movie actually. So it looks like a good movie. Fun for the whole family. So we got Louis Ashbourne as Alex, the main character. Rebecca Ferguson as Morgana. Tom Taylor, I think, is Lance. And we got Patrick Stewart as Old Merlin. There's a young Merlin counterpart. So what have we got? We got all kinds of stunts. We got a bicycle stunt in the crane shot. We got jumping. We got horseback. We got some pyrotechnics, some falling stunts, and the car stunt. And one utility stunt that's not on this video. It's not on this one, but it's on another one. And I'll show you that in a minute. But for now, so we got some of the stunt people in charge here. Peter White, who did one of the Harry Potter movies, Dunkirk, Fast and the Furious, he's the stunt coordinator. And then we got Leanne Telford. She's the assistant stunt coordinator for Guardians of the Galaxy, San Andreas, Rampage with The Rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, Doctor Strange. Then we got Anthony Scrimshire, who's a stunt double for Agnes Imrie, and he's done Annihilation in one of the Star Wars movies. Nicholas Bosk is the Pre-Viz, and he's done Logan. Elizabeth Donker Curtius, she did Holmes and Watson. Sam Durrani is a stunt double for Dean Chow Mu. David Foreman is the fight arranger. Rae Lim is the sword. She's like a swordswoman. She's a stunt woman, but she's a master at swords. Kind of like Kyle Rowling in Star Wars when he did the double for Count Dooku. So she's in charge of sword fights because the kids are going to be using swords, playing knight, as you can see. Edward Upcott is the stunt double for Alex. Jamie Stanley is the stunt double for Tom Taylor. Matthew Kay is the stunt double for Lance. And Jade Lye, Lye, is the stunt double for Kay. And we've got like about 30 other stunt people. And they're all listed in the description below for the IMDb. Could not find a stunt reel for Peter White, unfortunately. Let's see. So I'm going to pause and show you the stunts for a moment, if I can. Now, this particular stunt is hard to see, but that little red dot that's next to the double-decker, that's somebody on a bike. Is it technically a stunt? Well, I don't ride a bike. I ride a scooter. I fell the other day. I'll talk about that some other time. But yeah, that's a gray area for stunts, depending on how fast they're bicycling. So that kind of counts. It is definitely a double for one of the actors. So it's a long crane shot or helicopter shot of somebody on a bike right where I'm pointing it. You barely see it. But okay, so we'll go to a stunt you can easily see. Now you saw this scene where I think it's Lance, could be young Merlin, but I do think it's Lance transforming into a bird. This is a jumping stunt. Obviously, the stunt double is jumping onto a crash pad, some sort of safety trampoline or some other thing. I don't know about trampolines, but there's a landing crash pad somewhere. So this is technically a stunt. It's hard to really, so it's basically jumping. Everything's kind of, when you see stunts, it's very blurry. Even in Blu-ray, 4K, 1080, with high definition, you're going to see some blurriness. Even if you could see the image better to see it's not the actors, it's going to still be a bit blurry because, you know, everything's moving so fast that the director and the producer, they don't want you to really know it's the stunt person. But that's sort of the way it should be. So, I mean, you have to excuse the blurriness of this image, even though this is a Nintendo 3DS. Blurry is blurry. But that's the stunt. Jumping off from a high ledge. I imagine you're jumping maybe 20 feet at least. Just some good jumping space. And onto a landing pad. Now this was pretty obvious. These are horses. We saw some CGI horses earlier in this trailer. And they could be just CGI comped in, but you might have had motion capture for horses. Who knows? I mean, it's possible to motion capture horses put trackballs on them and then speed up the performance so it looks a little more authentic. Because if you just do everything sitting in the as an animator, sitting in the office, punching everything on a computer, you lose a bit of ground. There's no feel like virtual feedback when these things have, you know, because CGI has to have weight. So yes, you are seeing real actors on real horses. But I'm not talking about this particular stunt here. I'm just talking about more like the CGI horses we saw earlier in the trailer. Like how, is it just computer animation or is there horses like on a green screen? So as far as this goes, this is, you know, 4 stunt people walking their horses. I was thinking about Mackenzie Foy, and she had a stunt double run her horse back to the castle. So there's different kinds of horse stunts. Horses jumping over things, and horses running, and horses going over up hills and just walking. This is kind of going up a hill. So anyway. Now this one's tricky, but it looks like pyrotechnics. So you can see all these explosions and stuff. Most of that is CGI, but I'm only bet there were some stage effects on a green screen for this, and some stunt people had to get involved, some stunt performers. And keep in mind, well, there's more to this, but I'll show you more of this. Now this one, there's a bit of sword play here. There's a bit of sword combat. Let me try to remember who it was. Yeah, Rae Lim. Remember I told you about Rae Lim, she's the sword fighter here, the sword master in this movie. So you're gonna see. I'll show you a little bit here. You can see that sword combat. So for that scene, the kids, Rae Lim is teaching the children, the child actors, how to do a bit of sword play. I imagine they're not using really heavy swords, like the kinds you see, like katana blades or really heavy steel swords. Probably something lighter, probably like aluminum swords. I would not doubt that, because I mean these kids may be brave, they may be bold. They probably would be a little bit scared to handle real swords anyways, because they don't want to get anybody hurt. I'm sure, but the thing is like they're still not that they're not that big. These kids are still growing up, so I would imagine Rae Lim would have to be teaching these kids how to wield, aluminum swords or something that looks like a sword, but it's not that heavy. I'm going to see if I can find Rae Lim's stunt reel on YouTube. If I can find it, I'll post it in the description. If not, you're just going to see the IMDb. Okay, let's move forward. So for this last one, if it was, well, next to last one, for the last one, the last stunt you see in the trailer, if it wasn't that obvious, this is the Mario Kart meme, the joke. There's a lot of stunt driving here. A lot of stunt. I'm sure there's a lot of stunt drivers. So yeah, Mario Kart my ass. You got to get some stunt people to drive that crazy. So yeah, it's not a bad movie so far. So let me show you one more stunt, and it's actually in. So what this is here, this is a music video for The Kid Would Be King. But it's not the music video I want you to pay attention to. It's the stunt coming up at the... Hold on. I think it's at the 1 minute 40. So let's skip ahead to 1 minute and 40 seconds. So it's going to be hard to see it. I'm hoping we can see it. Let me get in a little closer. Okay, I'm going to do my best here. If this comes out blurry, I'll re-show it again. This is just after Patrick Stewart goes nuts. So you're seeing here, let me show it one more time. So this beautiful image you're seeing here, basically it's utility stunts. Now, there's a stunt rigger. You could just look him up on IMDb. The stunt rigger is in charge of all these stunt doubles for the kids with their shields and swords, or props for shields and swords, to be hoisted up. So try to think of, I think, the last Pirates of the Caribbean, where the pirates were on ropes and pulleys and they had to go from one ship to the next. So they were all hanging on the side of the ships. This is just like that. If you try to imagine the pirates going after, or Jack Sparrow and his pirates. So all these kind of stunts like that where you're hanging on ropes. This was not in the trailers, but it was definitely in the, like in this one here. One more time. Once more for safety. But yeah, I thought that was kind of neat. So overall, this is not a bad looking movie. You can't make, I mean, when it comes to kids movies, it's hard to really make a bad one. I think there was a bad kids movie with David Arquette as the mailman. I forgot which movie that was. So here's that stunt again, jumping, and there's some horseback riding, stunt doubles, more horseback riding. There's Patrick Stewart going Alzheimer's. Here we go with this. That's the stunt rigging. So that's utility stunts, and that's stunt rigging. So overall, this doesn't look like a bad movie. It's like Earthbound meets Goonies meets Stranger Things meets Super 8. Could be the worst, could be the best. And if it's not all that great, I mean, look, if the kids love it, they love it, I feel like it's an old story. I would say the Never-Ending Story had a little more sincerity. But Bastian had to act all by himself, and these kids are all together, So it's like, for some strange reason, these kids skip school and don't do their homework and forget their finals and forget math and just go and rebel against their parents and go on a quest. And their parents say, "You got to stay in school, kid." And the kid says, "F you, I'm going to do what I want." I'm going to skip school. So that's it. That's the Kid and the King. It's not so bad, like I say. There's some other movies coming up. I think Endgame is coming up soon. What other movie? Oh, isn't it Anita Battle Angel? What is wrong with her eyes? It's fun. It's one thing to have an animation style where the eyes are big, but that's supposed to be her real big eyes in like a live action movie. I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know what that's about. If that's based on an anime, I don't know. I'm going to review that one, the stunts for that one anyway. But just a heads up, I don't like the eyes on that character. Anyway, looks good. There are all kinds of stunt people. Sometimes you see them, sometimes you don't, in all kinds of movies. Honor and respect those stunt doubles. And until then, do a double take.